I have just walked away from a 30-year career. No salary, no safety net. Just a family vineyard in one of the most unpredictable wine-growing climates in the world. This might be the best decision I've ever made. Or the worst. Welcome to Tamar Valley Vineyard Diaries. My name is Marcus Williams, and in February 2026, I made the biggest decision of my life. After more than 30 years in my career, including 2 decades at the UK's largest public aquarium, where I became curator, worked with a team of outstanding biologists, and also met my amazing wife, I walked away from the security of it all. Because for the past 10 years, my family has been building something special here. A small vineyard in the Tamar Valley, where Cornwall meets Devon. Now I'm taking a gamble, trying to turn it into a thriving vineyard in the unpredictable English climate. This channel follows that journey. The seasons, the setbacks, the wildlife, the hard work, and the dream of making great wine from this remarkable corner of the countryside. Welcome to Tamar Valley Vineyard Diaries. Good morning everyone, welcome to a new week. The plan today was to be bottling our red wine. Unfortunately the lurgy is still strong within the family, so going to put that back a day or two. Bit of a dreary day, as you can see in the Tamar Valley, very low mist. So I think I'm just going to crack on with this, pulling out the vine prunings. A little bit demoralising, it never seems to end. It's probably the worst job in the vineyard at the moment. But yeah, we'll get that done and just listen to a podcast and just plod on through it. And then I think this afternoon, a little bit of work in the winery, got some pHs to check, got to add some sulphur to a couple of wines, and then really we need to look at how we're going to get our vine posts in on the newer plots, because there's quite a lot of vine posts we haven't finished putting in yet. And the problem is that when we come to prune those vines, we need to have the wires in the correct positions so we know exactly where to make the cuts. And unfortunately at the moment those wires are not in those correct positions. So yeah, we need to do a little bit of engineering to come up with a strategy for accomplishing that. I've got an idea, we'll see if it works. But for now, vine pulling. Blech. Well, that was a thoroughly unpleasant month, but we got there in the end. All the prunings have been pulled out and we're left with the canes that we need. Now the next job is to tie these down onto the relevant wires, but we'll cover that in the next couple of weeks. Got bigger projects ahead before then. So even though we've just hit a milestone with plots 1 and 2, what with getting the vine prunings out, even though there's still more work to be done in there, what with laying the canes down, we really need to focus on plots 3 and 4 for a little bit. So they're on newer vines, and we need to go in and make some cuts and do some pruning in there. However, to be able to do that successfully, we need to have the wires at the correct height. Now at the moment we've only got a few of the trellising posts installed, So there are wires there, but they're not necessarily in the right spots because they're not closely following the contours of the land. They're just running from A to B basically. So yeah, to get those posts in is a bit of a nightmare. So we did try a technique earlier on in the year. It was the same technique we'd used the previous year, but I think I must be just getting a bit older because it's a little bit sketchy to say the least, and I wasn't feeling safe at all. So yeah, plan B. 3 meters is a bit excessive, but that's all we got. It's wonky. Well, that's quite a good selection. There are lots of smaller ones as well, which is what I need. So this is the new old shed, imaginatively named because it was an old shed that we kind of renewed. No expense spared on coming up with imaginative names. But here, nope, 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 yes, yes, yes. Yeah, plenty, plenty. And these are in better condition. Ah, lovely jubbly. All right. I'd be chest height 1.5, top of the post. Post is 8 foot. Oh, it's just 2.4. Bum bum. Good morning, everyone. So today's the day we are actually going to bottle our red wine. Not a huge amount though, only about 400 bottles, but yeah, it'd be good to get it in bottle. Before we do that, got to do a little bit of tidying up in here. Got to make some room. This is the cider that was disgorged the other day, so that needs to go into the wine store. And yeah, it's a quick tidy up really before the parents come down and we crack on with things. Before I do that though, I'll explain a little bit about the Rondo, which is the red grape we're using in our red wine. So Rondo is a hybrid grape, originated in Germany, I think, in the 60s. So it's meant to be disease resistant, suitable for our cool climate. A couple of years ago, or 3 years ago now, we bought some Rondo in from a little vineyard just across the river near Launceston. And the idea was that we were going to make like a nice blush light rosé. Anyway, Rondo is one of those grapes where the juice is really, really intense and red straight away. So the idea of doing a blush went out the window very quickly. And we've kind of made like almost like a full-bodied rosé, which is, well, we like it. It's very nice. And at the same time, when we were making that, we had a little bit of a byproduct from the press, which was very, very, very dark. And we didn't really know what to do with it. So we just thought, well, we'll make it into a wine. And then maybe next year we'll blend it and have a bit of a play. Anyway, after a couple of months we were tasting it and it was like, crikey, this is quite nice. And if you like your Beaujolais Nouveaux, then maybe it'll do you. So we bottled it and sold it as a red, even though it was very, very low in tannin. You know, there was no real skin contact there. And it was very, very popular. So we tried to get some Rondo the following year, but that fell through. We managed to get some last year, although not as much as we were hoping for. But we threw all our eggs into one basket and we decided to make a red with it. So this time it's a little bit more structured, a little bit more of a game plan. So the grapes came in, we put them through our destemmer, so we gently crushed them. And then we left them to sit on their skins, which is generally how you make red wine. You leave the red grapes sat on the skins. And when it does that, it picks up body and flavour and tannin. Now this could be anywhere from a couple of weeks to a couple of months. With the Rondo, because we want to keep it really, really light and fruity, we did it for literally just 2 days. Anyway, so left it on the skins, took it out, separated the free run juice, then we put it in the press and we pressed out the juices, the rest of it as well. And then it gave us 2 tanks of Rondo, free run juice and pressed juice. Now the pressed juice picked up more flavour and more tannin. And yeah, moved forward a few months and we've had a bit of a blend and a bit of a play and we've come up with our new red wine. I'm actually really, really pleased with this. I think it tastes lovely. I mean, a lot of English red wines, especially made with things like Rondo or Dornfelder, if they're left in the skins too long, they can become quite tannic and not very balanced. This I'm really enjoying, and I think it's going to be a great, charcuterie and cheese board wine. But yeah, until it's in the bottle, it doesn't exist. So I better crack on, do a bit of tidying up, and get everything ready for Mum and Dad turn up, and we start bottling. Oh, this is the citric acid for half an over here. Yeah. Surprised.
You've still got bottles here then laying around. Okay. Something in circles. Oh, what did you do?
So we've ended up with about 380 bottles of red, which is quite a pitiful amount for a commercial vineyard, but we'll live with that, and it's a good little guide as to what we can do on a larger scale when our rondo comes online in a couple of years' time. But anyway, now I'm just having a bit of a wander above the winery, heading up to the woods. Gonna go and set one of the camera traps up here, and yeah, we'll see what we see, because it's not all about the winemaking, is it? You can see here there's a track, game trail heading through the trees there, so somewhere along here would be good.
Drink. Up ahead, and he starts to ask for Hardy. Where's Hardy? Bring me Hardy. That he has craved for so long, and he will not give up until about 500 of the crew of the Vineyard are lying dead, and so the captain hauls down their flag, and probably, dear Lady Hamilton, have my hair and all other things belonging to me. See. And Villeneuve himself behaves with great gallantry, with great courage. He remains at his post to the very end.
The seamstresses, it's the clerks and the chemists and the carpenters, entire nation is mobilised. And they were mobilised for this moment in time, for this amazing victory in history, stripped of its meaning without him. Henry Blackwood, the frigate captain, said to his wife, "I've lost the most."
His friend in the fleet, and known Nelson since the very beginning.
So he was rent with the most poignant grief for the death of a friend. He couldn't sleep because he was so affected by the loss of Nelson. George III, who had been longed for so long, Britain was definitively safe from invasion, the mistress of the seas, and yet it is the loss of Nelson that is the sort of first entry
in the streets to console him. And so as they held my hand, they burst themselves into tears. Of course,
2 days before Christmas, the victory reached the estuary of the Thames. As it passed, the forts fired their guns and the other ships lowered their flags.
So what I've been playing about with here, I was testing the pH of a Pinot Noir sparkling base wine. This is for Tamar Grow Local, so the same people that we bottled the Bacchus for last week. Now the only problem is the pH on it is quite low, it's 2.8, and from what I can gather, because I'm definitely no expert on this, that's a little bit too low for most people's palates. It is very crisp, I quite like it, but I think generally speaking it will need to be a bit higher. We did make a sparkling wine with their Pinot Noir a couple of years ago, similar sort of pH, and we had to use a lot of dosage, so a lot of sweetener to balance it out. And it'd be nice to avoid that really, because that sweetener does mute the fruit flavours a little bit. So yeah, I don't really know what to do. We can do a malolactic fermentation. That's where you add a certain bacteria and it munches up all the malic acid, which is the crisp apple acid, and turns it into lactic acid, which is more buttery and soft. I don't know if that's going to affect the fruit flavours at all. So I'm going to have to reach out to the wider winery world and see if there are some better experts out there than me, and see if they can advise what. This afternoon's plan was meant to be in the vineyard, checking all the anchor wires, tightening all the trellis wires, and repairing the ones that Mum managed to cut while she was pruning. Bit changeable though the weather today, especially this afternoon. Quite a few showers, and I just don't fancy being outside in that. So one thing that needed to be done is we need to blend our white wines. But we've ended up with 3 separate wines from last year's harvest. We've got our sparkling base, so this is all Madeleine Angevine. So we've got our sparkling base, which is free run out of the press, and then it's been inoculated with the standard champagne yeast. We've also got a whole bunch press, which is a new thing for us. So these grapes haven't gone through the crusher destemmer, so we put the whole bunches in the press, and we pressed it like they would do in champagne. And lastly, we've got the free run juice, which we would put for our still wine, and that was a natural ferment, so that was fermented with the yeast which was naturally on the skins. So what I want to end up with is a blend which we're going to use for our sparkling base wine, which would then go into a bottle, add some yeast and sugar, secondary fermentation, and then also some wine that's suitable for our still, just our standard crisp still wine. So the sparkling wine, that would then go into a bottle, like I said, and that would then, we'd leave it there probably for the best part of a year at least, before disgorging it. Still wine though, ideally I want to get this blended and I want to get into bottle ASAP. We've only got 1 still white wine, our 2024 at the moment, and I do like to have 2 when I'm selling it. But first, yeah, so basically I'm just going to work my way through them, have a bit of a play, and see what we come up with. I think it's a perfectly pleasant wine. You could pair a lot of food with this. Now this is our leftover Rondo. This is what we did not blend into our red wine. So I'm wondering what's... Smells okay, but I'm wondering whether what I can do with it. I don't like keeping wines in the tank for too long. I get the impression that Rondo and like Madeline, they don't like being kept too long. We need to get them in a bottle. They're young wines. But that's the colour. Quite intense. That's less than 2 days skin contact. And I wonder what it's like by itself. I'm wondering, could I put a little bit of this in with the whole bunch press and create a rosé? Could I put this through secondary fermentation and do a sparkling red? Don't know. There you go. That's 6-to-1. That's 6 parts whole bunch press, so white, and 1 part Rondo. That's not a blush, is it? That's still pretty damn intense. And we've already got an intensely coloured rosé. I don't think these varieties are going to work together. I mean, it looks lovely. Really does. I'll be honest with you straight away, that doesn't smell right. Geez, that would be a hard sell. Right, scrap that idea. Anyway, the sun's come out, so I'm going to go and have a look at these anchor wires and see how many of them need tightening. So ultimately, I can't really tell this story without talking about one particular person who really has made everything possible, and that is my granddad, Leo. So, Leo was a German prisoner of war. He was in the German army, he was German, and he was captured by the Americans as the Allies were pushing through from west to east. He apparently fell asleep whilst on sentry duty and woke up with an American pointing a rifle at him. Don't know how true that is, but that's what I've been told. Anyway, he was brought to England as a prisoner of war, and like many POWs, he was sent to work on the land. So all the local farms around here would have had at least one POW billeted with them. So, you know, quite a scary situation for him. He was only 19 years old, so he'd only been in the army for about 18 months. And didn't speak any English, and you know was a prisoner of war in a foreign country. Luckily, the family that took him in, and it was a farm called Braunda Farm, which is that direction, other side of the peninsula. They basically treated him like a son, and over time, he learnt English, and he and the other German POWs became integrated into the local community, and that was where he met my gran at a local dance, I think it was. My gran had been evacuated out to the local village during the war. She was in Plymouth, and during the Blitz, her family were moved out here to be safe. So Grandad was eventually allowed to go back to Germany. He went back there, he went and visited his mum, but after 2 world wars, Germany wasn't in a very good state financially, so he did think ultimately there's not much of a life here for me. So he came back to England and he married my gran. Now, what he always wanted to do is he always wanted to go into market gardening. And back in Germany, my great-grand's house, his mum, it was like a jungle. There was always fruit and veg there. There was always something being grown, and that's what he wanted to do. Now, somehow he managed to find this little pocket of land here, down on the Beard Peninsula, and obviously, as a POW, he wasn't going to get a mortgage. So Gran had to go to a shady character and borrow some money to actually purchase it. Unfortunately, though, it's such a dry and arid spot. I mean, there's not much soil above the shillets here. It's so free draining and there's no irrigation that he wasn't really able to grow anything commercially. So ultimately, he trained to become a builder, and this land became almost like a full-time hobby. Now, as a kid, my weekends were defined by this place. You know, we were always down here either planting potatoes or picking potatoes or sorting potatoes or picking plums, apples, daffodils, collecting firewood off the beach. And then when Grandad eventually passed away in 2004, the lands came to me, my mum and my sister. And for the first 10 years, we were basically fighting nature, just trying to keep on top of the weeds. My parents were both still working. My sister was living up near Oxford, and I was occasionally working abroad as well in the aquarium industry. So after about 10 years, we did a usual family thing. We sat down and had lots of wine and started arguing, and we decided we really needed to do something to earn a few quid, put a bit of diesel in the tractor if nothing else. So someone said, oh, Grandad always wanted to plant a vineyard, which I didn't realise, but in retrospect, shouldn't have been so surprised because he did like a drink. And so we had a consultant come out, we took some soil analysis, and we decided that, let's try it. So in 2016, we planted our first vines, which were Madeleine Angevine, and they've done quite well for us since. So that's a little bit of a backstory to why we're here and why the family's quite mad. You know, we are very German. We do shout at each other quite a lot and argue, but then 5 minutes later, we're just we're back on track and we're all focused on the job in hand. But without Grandad and Gran, none of this would ever happen. And we do appreciate how really lucky we are. I mean, to have this as your back garden is something special. But there you go. I'll just briefly explain what we're going to do this morning. I'll do it inside the shed because it's pretty windy outside. We're going to replace 3 anchors at the ends of some of the rows. So these anchors go into the ground, and then this is what you tie off the end post to keep everything tight. So what we've got is these things. These are gripple anchors. So you can see there's a little hole in there. So this hole, you got a big old pole, put it in the hole, and then you drive this down into the ground, straight down. Ideally, you go down about 3 foot. Here, it might be more like 1 foot or 2 foot, depending on the how hard the shillet is. But when you go down, and then when you get to the point you want to get to, you pull that pole out, pull on the wire, and in theory, then this spins around 90 degrees and locks into place. Obviously, in the shillet, it's not going to do that, but we can try. And then this little loop is sticking up above ground, and that's what you tie off your end post to. Don't know if you can hear it, but that's the rain coming down. Oh, I finished that just in time. The thing about the driver is it weighs 30 kilos. It is an absolute beast. There is a lighter version that's half the weight of that, but it costs about 6 times more. So we've got the budget version. I think I'm just going to wait here, have a cup of coffee, have a biscuit, wait for this rain to die down, and then we'll get back in there, and then it's a case of attaching all the end posts to those anchors. We need to also fix 3 wires that Mum managed to cut with the electric pruners. But then once that's done, basically the trellising system on plots 1 and 2 is ready to go, and we can start laying down all the canes. So here's one of the anchors we replaced yesterday. So I've got the old bit of anchor wire just sat there, so I need to undo the gripples, take it all apart, take this old wire off, run it through the new anchor, then tighten it up. Right, through the new anchor. Back through the post. Right. I want to get the gripple as far down as I can. So over the years when I need to tighten it, it'll go that way. So the further down this wire I can get it, the more play I have going that way. Previously we've been working on the fruiting wires, which are under tension. This one though is a foliage wire, so called because we tuck the foliage into it. These are not under tension. So I'm wondering whether I might be able to stretch it a little bit and actually just join it up to the original wire. And the answer is no. Absolutely no chance. Well, I didn't record it as I wanted to do a trial run with the camera first. Didn't want to tempt fate. But as it is, we were ready to go, and the post drive is broken. So there's a little plate inside which is sheared in half, and that's what bangs in the post, which isn't very good because I've only done about 5 things with it. So yeah, at least I think now I've just got to contact the supplier and see what they say. Very frustrating. I mean, it's only ever going to be a bit of a trial run today, just to see how it goes with the old trailer made up with that. But hey, as it is, I've given the tractor a run. I think in retrospect I need to trim off the ends of the poles that are sticking out. It's a bit tight in the alleys, so we'll get that done. We'll see if we can get this post driver replaced, and we'll have another go. But time is very tight now. We need to get this post in. So I think this is what we would call a normal South Who day, or a normal Vineyard day. A lot of effort, not much production. But hey ho, it's not been a bad week so far. We've got quite a lot done. And go up to the winery now, pack up the van, ready for farmers market tomorrow. The joys. Let's hope we get some a good lot of customers, because I need to pay my wages now. So it's early Saturday morning. I am just heading into Tavistock for the farmers market that we do once a month. Farmers markets and food fairs, that sort of thing, that's our main point of income. It's where we can make most of our sales, so these things are quite important to us. They have been a bit more difficult over the last 12 months. That's not just for us, that's for most people, I think, at markets. People are more concerned about their disposable income, what have you, and yeah, it's a bit more of a battle to try and even get people to come over and engage. But even so, it's really important that we do this. Might not make a horrendous amount of money, but it's just good marketing as well. It makes people aware of who we are, what we're doing, and we do get quite a few people who end up coming on tours with us through the markets, so it's all good. It's a little bit chilly, got van saying 2 degrees at the moment, although it is nice and sunny, so hopefully we'll get people coming out. We're in March, so people are slowly getting out of the house a little bit more. Yeah, so fingers crossed. Not expecting a windfall today, but I have a target in my head, and it'd be nice to hit that, because we've struggled to hit that target in recent months, so fingers crossed. all done for the day in Tavistock. Well, I'm not going to retire on that, but you know, I didn't actually hit my target, but we're slowly getting closer to it, and it was a good day. People actually engaged. Lots of people interested in coming out to the vineyard for tours and tastings and what have you. So I know that's part of it. It's kind of subtle marketing, really. It's getting our name out there and making people realise that we are a local vineyard. So head back now, unload, and then that's it for the day, I think. Thank you for joining us on episode 2 of Tamar Valley Vineyard Diaries. We'll be back with episode 3 soon, where we'll be focusing on the vineyard, getting the canes tied down before they properly wake up, and prepping the winery for bottling our white wine. As always, if you'd like to find out more about the vineyard, please go to our website at tamarvalleyvineyard.co.uk. Thank you very much and see you soon.